This technique is going to help you to understand how comfortable your retirement is going to be if you're intending to use real estate as an investment vehicle to get you there. So let's just assume today in Singapore, an average bowl of noodles is $4 and you bought a property for $1 million. You live in it for 10 years, at the end of 10 years you sell it for $1 million. Now it's quite safe to assume 10 years down the road, that same bowl of noodles is going to cost at least $5 to $6, which essentially means you getting back your $1 million, you will not be able to enjoy that same quality of life as you could have 10 years ago with that same $1 million. So the first thing you need to ask yourself and understand is this: if the value of my property is not growing alongside with inflation, am I incurring a loss? The answer is definitely yes. Because upon selling your property, the money that you get back, usually people use this money for a few reasons. Number one, to buy the next property. Number two, I want to use the money for retirement. So if the money that you're getting back, you're not able to buy that same property because the value of your money got smaller, or you're not able to use it to retire comfortably because the value of the money have diminished, you have essentially incurred a loss. And the second thing you need to realize is not every property in Singapore can and have the ability to grow alongside with inflation. And the most common misconception that everybody have is this: doesn't all property eventually appreciate in value over time? The answer is yes and no, because I do know of some properties whose value are on a perpetual decline. From the day the developer launched it to the day the keys were collected by the owners, all the way to 10 years down the road, the value is still on a decline. And the second kind of properties are the properties that you have to hold for a very long time before you can experience some form of appreciation. Maybe you need to hold on to this property for 20 to 30 years for it to experience some form of capital growth. And from my experience, not everybody hold on to their property for that long. And be very careful of commercial and industrial properties, especially those with 20 to 60 years tenure. Because as the tenure runs out, your future buyers are going to have difficulties taking loan from the bank. Together with lease decay, the property getting older, there's a lot more maintenance to be done to the building. The value is definitely not going to grow alongside with inflation, much less the cost that you've put into it. And maybe the last question you might have is this: how is it possible that any properties in Singapore over the span of 10 years does not experience some form of capital growth? Well, I'm telling you, it is extremely common. I'm not going to bore you with the details in this video, but if you want to know the exact list of condos in Singapore that have experienced a price decline over the past 10 years, what they have in common, and what are some of the things that you need to avoid, you can get in touch with me. But more importantly, there's this very important point I want to drive home with this video. I want you to understand the property that you are about to buy, or the property that you're currently holding on to. How much money are you able to get back when you sell this property as compared to when you first bought it? And are you able to enjoy that same quality of life with the money that you get back after selling your property? And guys, you need to really understand this. The moment you buy a property, you lock a huge amount of equity into this so-called asset. You need to pay down payment, renovation, and stamp duty. So if the value of your property doesn't even grow alongside with inflation, and the cost that you've sunk into it, this property itself is not really an asset. So if you're currently holding on to this property, you might want to do this analysis on your own. And if you're looking to buy a property, use this method to determine the probability of price growth to cover all the costs and inflation that is involved over the years of your intended holding horizon. I hope you learned something from this video, and I will see you in the next one.